Oh my
So
God.
is it
Hey,
account live?
guys, we have a celebrity among us on TikTok. Nick the attorney is actually in the comments, y'all. Hey, Nick.
Oh, Nick, how you doing?
Is that a good thing?
It's a great thing. Got celebrity Nick in here. Nick apparently does not follow me, but for some reason is very attracted to my page.
Nick at night.
Comments
Nick at
more
night.
than most of y'all on here. Okay. Gratitude. Shout out to Nick. We may or may not agree on certain things, but I appreciate the interaction. And I hope one day when we can get together and actually have a discussion if you're willing.
Yeah, that would be great.
Let's do a live debate.
No,
Oh,
we are not debating. We are
no,
not beating
I'll
anybody
just
down.
yeah, we'll just ask some questions.
We are
So
not
Let's have a
beating
poll
it's
question.
anybody
point
down.
counter,
That's what
point
debate
counterpoint, like Saturday Night Live.
in etymology, debate means to beat down. We are not beating anybody down.
Correct.
If anything, we are here to uplift.
I beat the devil down. Just saying.
We are here to uplift. Maybe even the devil needs to be risen up into the light.
Okay, so Safanai.
He was an
You
angel of
know,
light. Good point. He was an angel of light.
As long as someone is not disrespectful, I will not be disrespectful. And even if someone, I might perceive them to be disrespectful, I still might not be disrespectful because I just don't want to be perceived as someone who just goes around being disrespectful. Now, that doesn't mean that I might not say something respectfully and it's taken in a way where someone's feelings feel hurt, but that's not,
That part.
that doesn't, prove my intention. Okay.
Yeah, I just thought when I had asked, I remember one post Nick had commented, and I just asked some questions that really I hope he contemplated the sanctions that need to be in place for attorneys that do not do a thorough pre-filing investigation in terms of proper application of the statutes that are being enforced. And when I asked that question to Nick in that comment, his answer was absolutely respectful. However, it was not fully answered, which leaves me to question why. That's it.
It's typically miscomprehension of the question, which is why when we challenge the attorney's authority to act for this particular client in this specific case, they start pontificating about themselves being in good standing with the state bar as if that's the same question.
Well, since Nick responds to Frank, says, nah, he's here today because he was curious, just curious. Malika has a tendency to post a lot of fake info. So here's my question. Because today started out with a question
Fake
I had
news.
asked,
Fake
right?
news.
I
Fake
had
news.
asked, how familiar are we with whatever state near you or state that you're near? How familiar are we with that state's court reporter publication, right? So, Nick, how familiar are you with the decided cases, published or unpublished opinions, official or unofficial court reporter publication? What
It
do
don't
you
matter
say?
if they don't get real familiar with the statutory definitions
can
and
grab some tomatoes,
constitutional
Nikki.
limitations of the
Oh, some
term.
limes. That basket's here.
Can my admin's mute? His mic is open.
She said something about tomatoes.
I'm curious. I love the fake info thing. It's because what we can do then is begin to foster a conversation, a respectful and professional conversation. And I know where it's going to end up. I'm here for the journey of the conversation. I really am. And I would love for Nick to, really express, I mean, verbally, because it's quicker than typing, I'm sure, Nick,
Yeah,
right?
Nick, you want to come up on
Is
the
that
panel,
is
bro?
that baiting? Is that baiting the witness or badgering?
No, it's no baiting. It's an opportunity to foster better community relations.
At least he came back. I like the idea.
There are
Nick the
entirely
attorney
too
has
many
come back.
legal cases decided to keep up with all of them.
The
No, we're not talking
But
about,
there's got to be
that's the
rules
whole
of
thing, the
engagement. There's
misunderstanding.
rules of engagement.
Okay, Nick, we're not talking about individual cases per se. We're talking about the location of them that are compiled in the analogous reports and the state reports that are kept by, just like the location of it, not necessarily each individual case.
How
It's
can you
this is the problem with communication because it's what did 7 call it? Ambiguity.
correct?
If we
Correct.
don't get clear on our terminology, one side is gonna be saying something, thinking they mean what one thing, and the other side is gonna be perceiving it as something else.
Drawing conclusions.
And so that's why when I talk about the Fifth Amendment itself, Nick thinks I'm posting fake news. And I don't know if it means the Fifth Amendment is fake news or like
He says, look
fake.
what he says here. Hold
Oh,
on.
you're
Let me
fake and
pin
you're
this one.
posting it.
He says, right, and reporters are filled with all published cases in that
Yes, that's
jurisdiction.
what we're
So
talking about. That
he'll
was the
be
question.
honest. You see, Nick will be honest. So since I know you'll be honest, Nick, that means all we have to do is respectfully and professionally have the conversation. Because I guarantee you that the outcome will be favorable for all in attendance.
We only have 9 minutes in today's law studies. It would not be beneficial for Nick to come up at this time.
That'd be great in
But if he's
2026.
maybe another time we can actually
It'd be great allegedly in
make
2026.
make an agreement and meet at that time.
So how
Yeah.
can Nick,
Most of us enjoy attention.
how can you reframe your comment in an encouraging way instead of there are many
Nah, we're not here
reporters,
to
right?
coach Nick on how he needs to, present
Okay,
himself.
okay.
Come as you are. I don't read into people's, it's internet text.
Like you say, everyone has a level of comprehension.
I don't read into it. But if he's willing to speak um on the panel, we can have a conversation if he's willing, so we can come to some common ground. Because if someone thinks that I'm posting fake stuff when I talk about, the Ninth Amendment and the 14th Amendment and the applicability of state statutes to certain persons, certain places at certain times, okay? That's definitely something that might be interesting to be hashed out. Can we get some common ground with the terms as the statutory rules of construction intended them to be? Or will it just explain why we have to take every individual case to meekly instruct the attorneys on the other side? Aikido style.
Hmm.
Bar,
I don't
BAR.
know. Maybe I hope tomorrow people have their cases that they've written up that they'd like us to go over
We got
instead
some
of
friends in law that has some things I know.
Or maybe
yeah,
Nick
but
can
they're not
come in
putting
and
their
go
hands
over it.
up. So everybody has figured it out. All 30 people on here has figured everything out. So
Some friends in law in Florida, I know they got some things. Some friends in law, Maryland got some things. They ain't got their hand up, but I know what y'all got though.
I got a small win. I got a report.
Ooh.
Um, sent in the reinstatement for the motion to reinstate the writ of mandamus. It's been on the record, and the defendants did not answer. So now we're just waiting for the appellate court to rule, and so with no opposition.
So you got a order that it was being reinstated?
If it's not answered within 14 days.
Is that what the order said?
No. So they once it's on the docket, they've accepted it in the Michigan appellate court. Yeah. So once yes,
That what the
they
court rule says? That once it's docketed, the other party has a certain amount of time to respond?
correct. They have a time to respond, and if they don't respond, then the court will rule on it. So
Okay. And in a petition for a writ, the other party is called a respondent when it's a petition. So there's the petitioner and the respondent. Is that correct?
the way I have it, I don't know. The way I have it is they're the defendant.
Oh no, the correct term is petitioner and respondent.
Okay, just confirming. When it's a petition, it is petitioner and respondent,
Okay, I think
not necessarily
I'm not
defendant.
looking at it right now, but I'm pretty sure it is. And I'm not going to say yes or no right now.
Okay, that's fine. We
You got me
definitely
on the
want to
spot, that's for
confirm.
sure.
Oh man, thank you for sharing that.
I believe I have a win coming up too with the situation Hassan helped me with. They had set a hearing for Monday, and no attorney has filed a notice of appearance to appear. So I'm pretty sure they're just going to throw it out because the state attorney haven't filed any notice of appearance, and the
But did they
hearing is
file
Monday.
anything else?
They didn't file
Because
nothing.
remember, it's not just a notice of appearance that
They haven't
counts as
filed
an appearance.
anything. They haven't filed anything. Silence on the record, nothing. They haven't filed nothing. And today's Thursday, so
I mean, always look for those last minute Hail Marys
yeah.
with
No, I said
attorneys. Sometimes it
possible.
won't show up until Monday that they filed something on Friday at 4:58
Mm-hmm.
or something like that. Anybody know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Absolutely.
The reason I said it though because
I know.
they have this case has no service, no arrest, no citation, no nothing. They have absolutely no jurisdiction, not even from their so-called process. So
Right.
even though we don't even care about all that anyway, but they don't
No,
even
we
have
care. We care. We care about it.
technicalities matter, but even if they was to have done all those steps, it still would not have mattered, as I was taught in lawful living.
Oh, hopefully it's just by reading the rules, right? Reading the statutes, because as I said in the beginning, it really is crazy to me for only small groups of people getting remedy on a regular basis when it's based on information that is widely available to all.
Comprehension. That's why when you always said I started reading more, you gave instructions on, listen to it more, repetitions, and learn to comprehend what you are reading. And
Yes,
that's the thing. A lot of people holding on to, well, the law says this, okay, but how does it apply to you is the question you always revert back to. Okay, it's good to say that.
exactly.
How does it apply
Exactly.
to you? And they
Because a lot of
that
us have
part go
picked
over
up
their head.
if you pick up the, Walmart manual and you read it front to back and you comprehend everything in there, does that make you a Walmart employee?
Sam Walton said.
Does that mean you can do any of the things that you just read about in that book? Can you go and just start implementing anything in that?
Yeah, only if you're
Going
Kramer.
there running the Walmart.
If you're Kramer.
But how can we read the US code and we don't get that? No, that's a real question because I struggled to explain this to my family members when I first started studying. And my younger sister said, "Well, how do you know it only applies to United States agents?" I was like, "It says United States code."
Oh.
Did you say it that slow too?
What do you know?
If it said Walmart code, would you wonder how it only applies to Walmart agents? If it said Target code, would you wonder?
Code of conduct.
Yes, if it said like Nike Corporation Code of Conduct, would you? If it said the Wilson family regulations, would the Johnson family
That
read
sounds
it
better.
and be like, "Oh, this is great. I'm just gonna start doing this," and wonder why they're not in the Wilson family?
I was just
Oh.
verifying the petitioner. Yes, I filed it as a petitioner, and then I looked down the line just how
Look at
Michigan.
what Nick says. Nick says the US code applies to everyone physically in the United States.
In the state. In the state.
How do I get in the United States?
Because I can see you.
In the
I can-
state.
Physically in the United States. I
That
don't think
is-
Nick even understands what he's saying.
That Wilson family question was the same thing as the monopoly money.
Exactly. He says he knows what he's saying. It applies to everyone. What is it? Where does it say that? And what does
Because you know
physically
what
in
you're
the
saying.
what does physically in the United States mean? Is it territorial jurisdiction?
There you go.
Is it Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17? Is it United States Code 18 United States Code 7?
That's just on a piece of paper. Walking around.
No.
One of these things are not like the other.
Regardless of what you think it is, can you point to what law supports that? When someone
No.
says physically in the United States, do you mean Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17? Do you mean 18 United States 7?
Olivia Newton-John said,
Do you
let's get
mean-
physical.
Do you mean 48 CFR 52.2
Oh no, quit
dash
citing
5.
things. No.
That's not false claims. Title 48 is nothing to do with false claims. False claims is in Title 31.
Correct. 31 USC 3729. Key tam actions.
Sounds like the panel has started.
Is it OCGA 50 what?
36-1. 50-36-1.
Everybody go look up OCGA
50-36-1.
50-3 and read what the headline says about in the lawful presence in the United States. What is Nick talking about? Nick thinks he knows what he's talking about.
Biden.
People who know people who know that Nick don't know what he's talking about. Everybody go look up OCGA 50-36-1. Read the title.
Verification.
It says verification of lawful presence within the United States. I want to know which one Nick is talking about, because I bet you Nick don't know which one he's talking about, because he can't show you where his definition of physically inside the United States is defined as what the jurisdiction of the United States is.
Yeah, I mean, if someone, Nick, though, by your logic, Nick, if someone was, by your logic, in the state of Georgia, right, then 50-36-1 of the official code of Georgia will help to bring together and or create intellectually a nexus between what we're saying about the federal level as well as a particular state level.
So Nick is not familiar with 4 USC that says the states, that has all the state shit in there, and that talks about how the states are connected
As
to the
above,
federal.
so below.
But what about 18 USC 7, where we talk about special maritime and territorial jurisdiction of the United States defined? Because unlike Nick, I know where to send people when I'm talking about my definitions. I just want to know which one Nick's talking about. 18 USC 7. Because we could go state code like the OCGA, we can do federal code, or we could do Constitution. Let's go to Article 1. We go all the way up, all the way down. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17. I hope you guys are writing it down and looking it up. Writing it down and looking it up.
Upside your head.
Because Nick said physically inside the United States, and I can't find what illustrates his presumption. I'm giving it to you every which way. Article 1, Section 8, bro. Powers of Congress. I'm sure you know that the states Congresses can't make law that violates the law on federal. You should at least have learned that in law school.
I want my daddy's records.
And where none of this stuff matters because they don't follow the rules.
Can I get a refund
I
of my
want Nick to
loan?
say that. None of this shit matters because we don't give a fuck. We don't follow rules here.
They just do what they want. They make that shit up as they go.
Okay, because I just showed in the state law, guys. Doesn't it say what's the title of that? Doesn't it say verification of presence? Isn't that what it says?
Yeah,
Yes.
Isn't that what it says?
I see
On
it.
a state level?
I see it.
On a state level?
Georgia.
Georgia.
Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17. Exclusive power to legislate over the seats of government.
Nick says, you not caring
In
doesn't
the
mean
state.
the rules don't apply to you.
In the state.
Who said
No,
that?
I'm not saying that's why the rules don't apply to me. I'm not saying that at all.
We're saying that the
I'm-
legislature has expressly excluded.
And expressly included. Remember, it's expressio unius.
Exclusio altarius.
Altarius. I don't know. Nick never have heard of the rule of construction.
Y'all gonna learn today.
No.
What is expressed excludes what's not.
Take that.
What is expressed. So I don't have to be the one saying that I don't
It's like
care, it
true
doesn't
and
apply to me.
false.
I'm not the one saying it doesn't apply to me. The laws themselves
Like up and down.
say when they are applicable, at what
Like
time,
right and
to
left.
whom, and to where. And your assertion of physical presence in the United States has no legal foundation. You can't show any code on any level, federal, state, in the Constitution, just in the statutes. You can't show it nowhere where it says physical presence in the United States.
I'm claiming hearsay.
Or just call it bullshit, because that's what it is.
Bullshit.
And then don't forget the case law
I
that
was trying to
actually
be
says,
nice.
wait, kudos, because we're 7 minutes over time. If someone can point to at least one case law that says physical presence alone is not,
Words matter.
what grants jurisdiction? Anybody want to get some bonus brownie points so we could make it known to Nick and others? Look how Nick says correctly that that just says that Congress can make laws governing the military. Has said it.
Exactly.
Nick has said a true statement.
Ooh, I say, see, I told you he'll tell the truth.
Ooh.
It's the question.
Woo, go Nick!
Clause,
What is his
four-
what is his frame? What is the framing behind his thinking? I want to know what's
Clause-
behind.
He's answering Jafar.
Clause
Nick
14.
says Nick said
So the party's on TikTok. The party's on TikTok.
Yeah.
that just says that Congress can make laws governing military.
Article 1,
So
Section 8
now,
clause.
hold on, remember the rule of statutory construction, expressio unius, right? What? Who knows the rest?
Est exclusio alterius.
The rules of construction. Somebody type it in the chat for him. Est expressio unius.
I did. I pinned it.
Somebody need to put it again.
Jesus, Mary and Joseph, I got you.
You've been done dead. You've been done dead.
Doing this for 34 years.
The rules of construction say themselves, not Malika saying, not Malika inventing, okay? Expressio unius est exclusio alterius. Look it up. So to say that just says they could make rules for the military. Absolutely. But that means they by saying that, by including that alone, is that not excluding?
Non-military people.
Is that not excluding?
He said it himself.
It's pig Latin.
Just says.
That's what the
yes.
state constitution
Yes.
says. The governor is
like
commander-in-chief.
most attorneys, they say a lot of things, and they don't know what it means, what they're saying. They just say it. It flies
Judge
out of their
Judy.
mouth.
Judge Judy says gibberish. Gibberish.
And what's
Put your hand down.
interesting is some among us are rightfully accused of the same. We just open our mouth and nonsense comes out.
Your
Yeah.
code.
Jabberwocky.
Okay.
Jabberwocky comes out.
Hi, Grumpy.
That's why it's important, as Hassan said, to study the language. So when you're speaking down on these dumbass C student attorneys, okay? I'm just
C student.
no, because
I mean-
not all of them are terrible,
Just-
right?
It's
That was
most,
Joe
but yeah,
Biden.
it's
That's a
you're right.
very
It's not
distinct
all
study.
of them.
They could
That
be
was
getting
my-
an A and not knowing what they're doing.
Oh no,
was-
we help them. We help them excel, right?
Yeah.
We help them
That
excel.
was
Dude.
Biden, bottom of his class.
I went to Harvard Law.
I
bottom of
don't
the
care where you
class.
went, but for real, when you make claims like being physically in the United States is what gives them jurisdiction, we're gonna need you to prove that, like for real, like that. No, all jokes aside, right? Doesn't that sound like something fair to prove?
Emperor has no clothes.
Did anybody find the case that says physical presence alone?
Olivia Newton-John. Let's get physical.
Did anybody find?
I found where physical presence alone does not confer jurisdiction.
Correct.
I
Did you
found
find that case? Did you find that case?
I actually found it in California's family code. It is, if I'm not mistaken, in California's family code, it's 3421A when they're trying to define what the home state of the child is. However, even though it's defined there in 3421A of California family code,
Let me get the case law. Go ahead, bro. Continue.
physical presence somewhere, the proximity of your physical being in regards to something else does not confer jurisdiction. That's not my opinion. That's not my belief. That is the rules according to what has
Wow.
been legislated.
That's huge
So-
right there.
So if that's based on the rules of construction, if Nick is still present, the rules of construction are, we already gave you one, expressio unius est exclusio alterius. The other, eiusdem generis, we will also say adjustum generis, right? Then you have noscitur associis, as well as in pari materia. Those four alone are the foundation on which every statute is to be constructed. That is the sockle if the statutes are the bricks that make up the pyramid. The sockle is that level plane upon which the first level of bricks sit. And if you're just floating on sand, we have no idea how level one's thinking is.
Okay, so I pulled up the case. Well, I shouldn't say the case. Well, I guess I should say the case. This is a case that we had to report the judge because they made a similar statement about physical presence alone being what proves or grants or supports the presumption of jurisdiction. So the judge in this case claims, y'all see the quote here on the screen? Y'all see this quote here where we have to report the judge?
I see.
Okay.
Word.
I'm going to say only one person is participating in class.
Yes.
Okay.
The
Okay,
court,
hold
the
on.
court, you know, Nick says things like that's California law, not federal law, or that's federal law, not state law. But don't laws have to be congruent?
Correct.
Do
And
laws
they
have to be congruent?
correct.
So doesn't it say in every state code that the Constitution is for the United States is the supreme law of the land?
Correct.
And also
So in every
all
constitution,
statutes that are not
Repugnant.
inconsistent with, right, not repugnant to or not inconsistent with the federal law. So it's the principle that you have to look for the sameness in, the principle. So if it's a principle reflected on the federal level, you will find the same principle on the state level.
Whoa, hold on, Malika. Hold on. Time out.
That's
Let's
just
be
common
clear.
sense. That's just common sense.
Congruent does not denote exact same.
No, I'm not saying exact same. I'm saying the
No, I
principle
know
is the
you're
same.
not.
I'm saying the principle is the same.
I just tagged, though I pinned his comment on TikTok. He says congruent as an exact same question mark. No, they
Principally.
don't. We're saying
So, for
principally.
example, the state has a protection against invasion of privacy and private rights. So does the federal. The same principle. Is it not? Protection for private property and private rights? Is that not congruent? Does that mean and in some states, the words are exactly the same as the federal, like literal copy paste. Have you read, for example, Pennsylvania Code Title 18, Section 7? Any of Pennsylvania Code Title 18 and United States Code Title 18, you will see exact copy-paste language.
Absolutely.
What best way to be congruent than to just copy-paste? How much
Jesus.
more congruent can you get?
Is it that Nick has not seen that which we have seen?
I don't know. Nick is just like most people who just open their mouth and let shit fly out. I
Interesting.
tell that. Physical
doing
presence of the
that.
United. So let's listen to what the judge said that we had to report. And this man won his case, by the way. Defendant was arrested in Polk County, Florida, is what the judge says. And jurisdiction is the very power of the state to extend the influence of its courts over a criminal defendant. However, both those statements are exhibiting incompetence, negligence, or willful criminality because, as a judge, they know or should know, quote, whenever circumstantial evidence is relied upon, wouldn't it be circumstantial evidence that the mere physical presence of someone is proof of jurisdiction? Would it be circumstantial evidence? Listen up, attorneys and wannabes. Whenever circumstantial evidence is relied upon to prove a fact, the circumstances must be proved and not themselves presumed. This is United States versus Ross, and the report that it's in is 92 U.S. 281. Whereas the capacity of the defendant to be sued in this county is determined by the law of the state of Florida, the 11th Circuit has held that in every action there must be a legal entity as the real defendant.
Jesus Christ.
So if it was just physical presence alone, why would you also have the caveat of the need to be a legal entity if it was physical presence alone?
So how is that determined then, Nick? If we're talking about repugnance, since you said repugnance of what, question mark, like a state law being found to be unconstitutional?
No, but
my
perhaps
reply
the
is
application.
how is that determined? That's my question.
That's a
How
good
is that
question.
how is that determined, Nick? Right? How is that determined? You know, that's all I want to know. I'm glad you brought that question to the table. It only makes me further than want to ask.
Let me
Since it seems
let me
like
continue so I can read the other claim that's
continue.
more specific about this physical presence that he still hasn't shown where he's getting it from. And I gave 3 options. OCGA 50-36-1 that talks about proof of verification of lawful presence in the United States. He didn't say anything about that. I gave him 18 USC 7 about the territorial jurisdiction. He didn't say that that's what he was referring to. I gave him the Constitution of the United States, Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17. He didn't say where he's talking about this physical presence in the United States. I'm trying to figure out where it is. So check out what this judge said. The judge claims, quote, by being present in Florida, underlined, defendant has made himself subject to the jurisdiction of the state of Florida. That's what the judge said. But that's a lie.
Yep.
Because in Florida statute section 910.005, a person is subject to the prosecution in the state for an offense that he or she commits while either within or without the state by her or his own conduct, or that of another which the person is legally accountable.
Legally accountable.
If the offense is committed wholly or partly in the state.
Yeah, Nick
If.
apparently views himself as a legal entity.
Well, he's an attorney, so when
Yes,
he is
he is.
acting as an attorney under his license, he is in fact
He is, in fact, a legal entity.
a legal entity called a natural person.
He says, Malika, what you described just means that the crime must occur in the state.
Yes,
to
but
be
also
prosecuted.
it has to be a person, which is someone acting as or on behalf of a legal entity, not just any man, woman, or child that you gaze your eyes on.
So I can't just go walk into a farmer's market and just act like I'm the one selling the groceries, selling the produce.
Or if you don't know that the definition of in the state is an activity done in a location, because it has to be under the tax code. The definition of in the state means to be upon territory owned by or ceded to the United States. That's the definition of in the state in Florida.
Or sufficient contacts like a business consumer.
Nick, let's just take the word individual, right? If we're comprehending the whole what you just said there. No, you do not have to be acting on behalf of a legal entity to
But
be
that's
a
what it
person.
says. It says a person is a legal entity. It says that, right, in Florida code.
That'll be
Florida
the state.
statute, everybody could write it down. Florida
Yes, the state.
statute 48.48. Oh, it goes, that's to that next section. So there's Florida stat 48.041.
That's the statutory person.
It says person means corporation, partnerships, incompetent minors, joint ventures, unincorporated associations, and other legal entities. Why would they be so specific about legal entities if it was just any one that you see?
Haven't you gone over
If
this
it
at
were
infinitum?
just everybody, why when we look at the definition of person, they just don't say everybody? Because it could say that. It could say every man, woman, and child, just like everybody. Every artificial person as well is equivalent with all non-natural persons. Every artificial entity is equivalent of to every man, woman, and child. It could say that, but it doesn't. And then again, you have the rules of construction like e justem generis, non seter associ in para materia.
No parity.
I don't think people are taking those rules of construction all the way through out there reading.
They're not. That's why we beat attorneys every day.
That's a very distinct study.
This is why we beat attorneys all day long.
Look at that. Whoa.
They don't know the rules of construction.
Yes, look at what he just said. You see what I got pinned, right?
He didn't say anything about sole proprietors.
Look, hold on.
He didn't have to say, you don't have to say anything about sole proprietors. You can just look up the definition of individual. If you're confused, that individual means just every man, woman, and child that you lay your eyes on, you need to go look up the term individual to see it means sole proprietor. You don't have to be saying it talking about sole proprietors.
Because you said if the law applies to everyone, if you're in the United States, if you're physically in the state, okay, let's use your logic then.
But again, in the state says that you are on grounds owned by or ceded to the United States. Yeah, you get it. But
okay,
there's at least one person on here that don't.
let's say that's his logic. If that's his logic, then right, then that means that by law, as well as well documented in the Internal Revenue Code, that every singular sentient being, by Nick's logic, is a sole proprietor, even though Nick did not say
Yeah.
everyone is a sole proprietor. He is inferring by his very words, which is, I think, a well trained and learned attorney way of thinking
Yeah.
to be able to give straw man fallacy absent any actual reference or citation to what's
I'm
being
still
said.
waiting to see any law that supports that physical presence in the United States alone is what gives jurisdiction. Because that, again, I just read the Florida version and it doesn't say it in Florida. So I'm just curious as to what state.
Ooh, look at that. Oh my God. Look at this one. Ooh, it's common sense. I didn't
No,
say.
you can't apply some common sense to
Ooh.
legal arguments. What the fuck?
Ooh. I definitely want to have a conversation,
Hey, that's why my dear daughter has gotten a response from an attorney that's been practicing law
Webster's dictionary.
longer than she has been alive. Their response to a statutory objection was the use of Webster's dictionary. Although remember, they are allowed to use Webster's dictionary, but it can't be to deflect the terms that are already defined in the statute. It has to be for when the term is not defined. Guys, come on.
I love this document.
Gratitude. The guy won his case. I don't remember if the judge actually got reprimanded or whatever, but they were absolutely reported by being present in Florida. What does it mean to be present in Florida? First, you have to be in the capacity of a person, which is acting as or on behalf of a legal entity, and you have to be in the state, which is on territory owned by or ceded to the United States.
Jesus Christ, you might need to flip your camera around on TikTok so Nick can see that. And if it's in Florida, Nick, guess what? It's everywhere. It's in every
maybe
state.
I'll flip the camera around when I show the definition of in the state in every state that we've already found. Anybody want to? Since we already over time.
Unless you got
Very
a session.
similar to the one I did for that guy when I was in.
Yes, Tomas is on. Yes, look, the guy who found it is on.
Wow.
Tomas, do you remember if the judge actually got off the case, or did they just make a proper ruling after they were reported?
Oh, they tried to get him into mental evaluation. We blocked that, and then he's since been gone. He left right after I got out. That lady didn't
I
answer.
couldn't remember if they were actually reprimanded or if they just did the right thing, like the other attorneys in your case.
They just throw you out. That's like they did me. They just throw you out.
You
Go
see
after
what
the
I'm
low hanging.
saying? You see what I'm saying? So I'll post stuff like this, and naysayers will say it has nothing to do with what you filed, and I'm like, okay, I don't have to prove that.
Well, if nothing
So
was filed, they think that still would have happened.
maybe they think it's something else that was filed. Remember, there are even people that allege to be on the side of the people that will say things like that. Like, oh, y'all just be doing the most, you didn't actually make any legitimate arguments. They just got tired of dealing with you.
Oh, they think the courts get tired. Oh, that's a new one.
Yo, Malika, find in the state for
Yeah, that's what I'm
Ohio.
pulling up
That's
right
where
now. I actually
where
had it
Nick say he
already
is.
open. I'm going to show everybody. I actually had it already open because I had to go over it today.
Land owned by or ceded to the United States does not mean all of what you think has been cartographically illustrated
I don't
on
understand
a
what
map.
the fuck that means.
Cartography is map making, map designing.
No,
So
I get that part, but I don't even understand why that whole blurb, like you're reading some nonsense.
he says Florida is land owned or ceded to the United States. That is a true statement. However, what portion of that
It doesn't
land is
say the
considered
land. Do you
Florida?
guys understand? In the state does not use the word land. Says territories within that are owned by. That
Ooh,
does
I knew he
not
was gonna get in
say
there.
the entirety of the thing. Come on, get some reading comprehension, god damn it. Everybody, get some reading comprehension. Everybody, get some reading comprehension. Get your reading comprehension on. Get your reading comprehension on. Get your reading comprehension on. Get your reading comprehension on.
Everybody.
A lot of people think they know how to read, but they don't know and understand that comprehension is the most important part of reading. Like they think if
No,
they
I
can
can
read fast, they think they can read. But if they don't recognize that if you don't understand what you're reading, it don't matter how fast you read it, how well you pronounce the word. You're not grasping what you're reading. You're not retaining the information.
Yeah, I
I think
think
I'm turning Japanese. I'm turning Japanese. I think so.
you're hilarious. I think that
Florida is land owned. No, it is not. What? Have you read the session laws in any state? You absolutely cannot say that you have with
State of
integrity.
confusion.
The session laws don't work like that. He's just saying like just anything. And what's funny is he's the one who accuses people of just saying just anything. If you have
In
not
case you
read
want to
the
know one.
session laws of your state, read the session law. Read how a piece of property becomes owned by. There has to be like a request and an application and acceptance, and sometimes the state engineer has to get involved and all that shit.
Nick,
No, he's right. He's right.
Nick seems to be about as bad as some of the people suffering from guru syndrome.
Absolutely. He's
hey,
suffering from
No,
the same guru abuse syndrome
He's-
himself.
he's right.
Nick,
He's right. He's doing is projecting.
Nick and
No,
Yusuf Elf would be Yusuf would be a better debate matchup than you and him, Malika. I would.
no.
Yeah,
We
him
don't
and
want to
Yusuf.
debate. Debate means to beat down. We are not beating anybody down. Hopefully, we are lifting people up. We are enlightening the minds.
and
Y'all
promoting
gonna learn today.
intellectual honesty. Promoting intellectual honesty.
integrity.
Intellectual
Well,
integrity.
let me
That's the
rephrase
first
it.
mistake.
Him and Yusuf need to have a conversation because he's not retaining what's being said. He's
It's okay if he's not
rebutting.
retaining because we're not just talking to him one. We're
Right.
not just talking to him alone. There's
Correct.
several people who have never seen these documents before. There's several people who don't know that we have found the definition of in the state, in every single state.
We sure did.
Years ago, before AI, okay?
That's
But
true.
We
True.
with
In the
our
state
real eye,
with real people.
with real people, with a whole community.
I remember.
Lawfullinks.com, original iteration 1.0 on the app.
I was here when you did that. I was here.
86 Corpus Juris Secundum Legal Encyclopedia for everyone, not just Nick, who thinks that I just pulled shit out of my ass. Just to let y'all guys know, sources,
Okay.
86 Corpus Juris Secundum Legal Encyclopedia, definitions, nature, and distinction. Sometimes you do too, Nick, if that's the case. Like your term that you cannot prove the source of, that physical presence in the United States alone is what gives, grants, supports, or proves jurisdiction. Please, I'm still waiting. Anytime you're ready, I'm here for it. All right.
I know.
The word territory, since Nick apparently thinks it's interchangeable with land, which it is not, the word territory, when used to designate a political organization, has a distinctive, fixed, and legal meaning, and it doesn't matter about feelings, under the political institutions of the United States and does not necessarily include all of the territorial possessions of the United States, but may include only the portions thereof which are organized and exercise governmental functions under Congress. Wow, those are the only territories. Those are the only territories, guys.
Gee.
Only the portions thereof, not entire SWAT, which are organized and, it's an and there, it's an and, it's two conditions, or at least more than one, and exercise governmental functions under acts of Congress. It's interesting because isn't this the same definition of person? It doesn't include all people, but those portions thereof, which are organized and exercise governmental functions under acts of Congress. Is that making sense to anybody?
Yes.
We might call that some common sense. We might call that. So while the term territory is often loosely used
Loosely.
and has even been construed to include
Footloose.
municipal subdivisions of the territory and territories of the United States is sometimes used to refer to sometimes used to refer to the entire domain over which the United States exercises dominion. The word territory, when used to designate a political subdivision, has a distinctive, fixed, and legal meaning under the political institutions of the United States, and the term territory or territories does not necessarily include only portions thereof which the organized and exercised government functions of Congress. The term territories has been defined to be political subdivisions of the outlying
Not in the state?
outlying dominion of the United States. And in this sense, the term territory is not a description or defined area of land. Where the attorneys at?
It is right there.
Hey, where the attorneys at? Malika,
Yeah.
get the definition where the party's at.
Yeah. Is Nick seeing this?
I don't know, but hopefully even the victims of unfortunate types like attorneys,
Poor unfortunate souls.
Not a description.
hopefully the victims
Mm.
are reading it, if not the victimizers.
Sheesh.
Because most of the times victims erroneously believe that it is the job of their victimizers to stop victimizing them first. Anybody know what I'm talking about? I don't want to learn how to stand up for myself. I want to instead pray that the victimizers grow a conscience and stop victimizing me. Anybody know anybody like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like waiting on Jesus.
December 25th coming soon.
To a store near you.
In this sense, the term territory is not a description of a definite area of land, but of a political unit of government being governed as such. The question whether a particular subdivision or entity is a territory is not determined by the particular form of government which it has more or less temporarily invested. Territories or territory as including state or states, while the term territory of the United States may, under certain circumstances, include the state of the unions as used in the federal constitution and in ordinary acts of Congress, territory does not include a foreign state.
Word.
So, as used in this title, the term territories generally refer to political subdivisions created by Congress and not within the boundaries of any of the several states. As used in this title, the term territories generally refers to political subdivisions created by Congress and not within the boundaries of any of the several states. Therefore, federal income taxes in the constitutional states are limited to federal enclaves in this context. Within the states of the Union, they do not apply to areas subject to the exclusive jurisdiction of the constitutional state. So let's look at the definitions of in the state. And
Ohio.
we have it in order. We have it in order, guys. We put
As
it
you
in
can see.
alphabetical order as best as we could.
You're welcome.
So here again, it says the word state. And remember at all times, guys, if this definition of state simply meant everywhere in the state, it could just say the entire state of Alabama. It could just say that. It could say the word state means the entire state of Alabama within the boundaries thereof on whatever map defines it. It could say that, but it does not. Does anybody ever think about why it doesn't say that when it could?
Yeah, instead of saying several territories, just say all the territories and the land that has grass and trees and
Making
people
designation.
walking. I mean, well, just say all the time, every time, everywhere.
Say the state is the entirety of the state of Alabama defined by whatever current survey, right, available in the census. It could say something like that.
The answer to your question is simply because it's not.
Well, that might be the little common sense that
That Nick was talking about.
that the homeboy was talking about. But instead, what does it say here? The word state when applied to different parts of the United States. To different parts of it, not to the entirety of it. Is everybody catching that that's not there?
Yeah, well, even in the paragraph above, the section up further up where the last sentence in there even tells you that it's not it's not even where they're exercising
Right.
their jurisdiction.
Right, because they apparently can exercise
They
it
can exercise it and not still be
physically.
physically be theirs. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That sounds like you're on the clock then.
Exactly.
Oh,
Or
that's
some actual statutory capacity that
Yeah.
gives the jurisdiction.
Yeah, like the mail.
oh, that's that legal capacity then.
Yeah, that
Huh.
legal capacity.
Ooh.
Hmm.
Well,
Yeah, that last sentence above the highlighted.
it says the word state, when applied to different parts of the United States, includes the District of Columbia and the several territories of the United States. It doesn't even say the several states of the United States. That's why I read the beginning up here. I usually skip over this beginning part, but I know a lot of people are new here and they might,
Are you
they've never-
reading the same document? There's no document up. Are you still looking at the one that was up earlier?
I don't know what you're talking about. Can y'all guys not see my screen?
You should be seeing Alabama, Alaska, Arizona
Yeah, we can
right
see
now.
it. We can see
Okay,
it.
thank you.
It's the same document.
All right. So
So
let's go to Alaska. And I want you guys to know where these definitions are defined. Does everybody see where this is defined?
Yeah, we'll get to Ohio, Nick. We ain't forget about you.
I mean, he ain't gonna see nothing different.
I know, right?
Do you guys see that it's in the revenue and taxation section? So
That
if it's
doesn't
in the revenue and taxation section, how can it just be based on mere physical presence? Does just being alive put you under the revenue and taxation code, guys?
that's that part about exercising.
according to Nick's logic, yes, as long as you are breathing air,
And
you're
you're
in the state.
standing where it's
Yeah.
called whatever, Florida or Georgia or
Maybe even India and
Alabama.
Australia. Maybe it applies
Yeah,
there
maybe
too.
it applies in
New
Canada
Zealand.
shit.
Yeah.
Because it says revenue and taxation. That's what's always interesting about most of these codes that define where in the state means or state. You will see it's typically under the revenue and taxation code. So let me just scroll down real quick and show y'all. Look, Arkansas is taxation.
There's
Nah.
California, it's revenue and taxation. So some special activity has to be happening in order for it to be considered in the state or in the United States. Special activity, privileged activity, regulated activity, not just all activity, or else it wouldn't need to be under the taxation and revenue code.
Nah,
Just
Malika.
saying.
See,
Right
Malika,
here, taxation.
Malika, you and me and the rest of our friends-in-law,
Sales,
we
use, and taxation.
cherry picked this. We
Look.
didn't look everywhere.
Corporate,
Go
look,
ahead.
they got more specific in Delaware. Delaware was like, F y'all, illiterate suckers. We just gonna tell y'all straight up.
Corporation.
It's under the corporation income tax that we're gonna define the meaning of in the state.
Word.
So it sounds like legal entities, aka corporations, is who can be in the state, and their agents, when acting on behalf of corporations, is who can be in the state because they're exercising taxable privileges.
Exercising those privileges. That means that two people could be standing in the same spot, one subject to the exercise of taxation and the other one not.
Correct.
Yo, read the screen, Malika. Read the screen.
Why do you keep saying that? What law are you pointing to? Is it 18 USC 7? Is it
Oh my
50
God.
OCGA 50-36-1?
What is he saying?
Is it Article 1, Section 8? He keeps talking about the physical presence when no law says he can't point to any law that says physical presence alone.
Let me
Because
quote. Let me quote. If you are physically in the
If
state,
you-
you are subject to that
to the
state's
state
law.
laws.
He did
That
say
is basic fundamental law. And that's why I'm laughing
Well,
so
where is it?
hard.
Where
There was
is
a
it?
policy officer told me that one time.
Well, we just showed you a judge that said it and still had to dismiss the case. It doesn't matter who says it, you're still wrong. Having a degree while saying something incorrect doesn't suddenly make you correct.
Jesus.
Being at
Step-
work,
step,
something
Malika.
incorrect doesn't suddenly make you correct. I did show you. Did I
if I say it
show
repeatedly,
you Article
it'll
1,
become
Section
true.
8, Nick? Did I not show you Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17? Did I not show you 18 USC 7? Did I not show OCGA 50-36-1 that talks about verification of lawful presence.
The question is, did he read it?
The question is, what has Nick
No.
shown?
No, but I'm showing y'all that the definition of being in the state is under sales and use tax. It is not simply under you're in the state because you're standing here. The definition of being in the state is because you're standing in, next to, across the street from, or down the way from a courthouse.
Did it say you?
I'm telling you,
Is you right
It
here?
doesn't even say land, and yet that's what Nick is inferring over and over and over.
You means an individual who owes a debt to the United States. Okay, individual, there's your business.
now
Uh-oh.
your screen is looking a little whitish right now on TikTok.
Here we go. In Connecticut, it's under sales and use.
Okay,
In
good,
Delaware,
good.
it's sales and use. In the District of Columbia, I can't remember what that is, but you can click on it right here. There it goes again. In Florida, they put it under taxation and finance.
Sheesh.
Tax on sales.
Sheesh.
In Georgia, they put it under the commercial code. Georgia ain't playing with y'all neither. They put
Sheesh.
in the definition of state is in the commercial code. So if you're not operating a license granted under or regulated under the commercial code, how can you be in the state? Nick
That's
said
because Nick,
being alive.
but that's
So we
because
should be
Nick, I
using
think,
these
is
definitions and terminologies at all times.
Look, Idaho,
should be the
revenue and
frame of your thinking.
taxation. Revenue and taxation code in the state. In this state and in the state means within the exterior limits of the state and include. It's a and there.
You got to be in a building.
So you could be in the exterior limits of the state, but if you're not in a territory within these limits owned by or ceded to the United States, where do we keep who owns something? Where do we keep the record of who owns something?
Usually some type of some people will be like the county.
I am showing you
police
the
office.
context
Yeah,
in where these
county-
definitions are for. That's
county
why I
record.
intentionally put what the section is. The other thing I want to explain to you guys about this definition of in the state is that for most of the states, this is the sole location of the definition of in the state. That's all they got.
See, but oh, that's what I was saying though. That's why I said, nah, Malika. We just researched. We cherry picked in a certain space.
No,
We didn't
look,
look everywhere else.
I'm not saying in
Drastically.
Louisiana, revenue and taxation. Doesn't it say right here in Maine? Sales, use, and taxation. Doesn't it say right here? And look, in Massachusetts, they're not playing with y'all. Taxation of corporations again. Hello.
Jesus Christ.
That's the only place they have the definition of within the state. Beverage containers, tax laws. That's it. When you go looking for what within the state and in the state means, they start talking about taxes. It's not just physical presence. That is the context. They're telling you the context. That's why I put what it is. Look here. Nebraska, sales and use. Nevada, sales and use. Come on.
Yeah.
New Mexico, taxation. New York, general freaking business, franchises. Oh, okay.
Texas.
North Carolina, sales and use tax. How is that not giving you content? Unless it's your R word. Oregon, tobacco products revenue and taxation. Again, Rhode Island, Department of Revenue, Division of Taxation, sales and use tax. Again, in the state and in this state means the area within the boundaries, including territories within those boundaries that are owned by them. Owned by the United States. It doesn't even say owned by South Carolina. It says owned by the United States of America. It's again, South Dakota, owned by the United States of America. Tennessee, they get more specific. The District of Columbia and several territories, not the states. Texas, state taxation, sales, excise, taxes, use tax in the state means within the exterior limits of the state and includes all territories within these limits owned by the United States, not owned by Texas, not owned by the people of Texas, not owned by private people. In Utah, they put it under occupations and professions because you got to be at work exercising taxable privileges in order to be considered in the state, not simply respiring on a sidewalk somewhere or in a home somewhere or at a school somewhere. That is the context. The context is the section in which it is found in all states. Look, okay, Washington gets even more specific if some of y'all is our word. Washington says in this state, within the state, and in this state. includes all federal areas. Is that clear enough for you? Is that clear enough for everybody? It says explicitly all federal areas, because federal areas are the areas owned by or ceded to, not all areas everywhere within the fictitious limits of the state. Come on now. Do y'all see it with your own eyes? It says business and occupation tax. So why would we let an attorney tell us that physical presence alone? I don't think it's physical presence alone. I think some type of business on occupation activity. I think some type of business, registered business, licensed occupation. You know, almost like an attorney, but except a real license, and not just a certificate to pretend like you got some reading comprehension when you don't. Is this explicit enough for everybody? I need a response since y'all still with me.
Yes.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
it clear
Yeah.
that within the state and in this state is explicitly restricted to what is known as a federal area? And if it were the entirety of the state, it would not say a federal areas only.
Word.
Specifics.
Remember, expressio unius,
Expressio unius.
exclusio alterius,
Word.
as well as in pata materia, as well as e justem generis. Also non citer associes. You need to know these parameters. Those are, what did he say? What did he say? The context.
You are entirely taking these definitions out of context,
I'm
makes them
showing you the
useless.
context. I'm showing you the context.
Useless to whom?
If you cannot see the context, then perhaps you have no eyes to see. Because I'm showing you the context is business and occupation. And it is, in fact, the attorneys and the judges that are using it out of context because they want us to believe that physical presence alone is what makes you in the state. And that's impossible if it's defined under the Business and Occupations Code.
That's the context. Business
That
and
is the
occupation,
context.
taxation. I don't
The
know
context
why he's
of
not
being in the
getting
state
it.
is limited to business and occupation shit.
Oh my God, he's not getting it. So law school of him.
I'm saying that's so attorney-ish of him. How very attorney-like. How very
Upton Sinclair of him.
ooh, how very Upton
Sheesh.
Sinclair of him, says one of the youngest people in the room.
Sheesh.
She's reliving single.
It's showing you who the law applies to when they put it under the business and occupation section. Excuse me? If they put it under the family section, guys, what would it apply to? Somebody want to tell me? If they put it under the
Business.
family code section, what would it apply to?
The Marriage Act.
Foster parents.
It would. I'm just saying, it would probably apply to families. Yes.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, but if they put it under the business and taxation code, what is it relevant to?
Business.
Taxes.
And if they don't put it anywhere else in any other code, where can we refer back to every time they use the phrase?
Look.
To where they put it.
We go to where they put it, wherever it is.
Statutory definitions have scope. They
That's
tell
right.
you
In
what they apply
Paramount,
to.
they do. They tell you right where the section is.
How do you agree and disagree at the same time?
Yeah, you know what? It's called cognitive dissonance.
Sheesh.
That is the textbook expression of that agreeing and disagreeing at exactly the same time.
It's happening in real
Okay.
time.
Do y'all
though.
do y'all know what the definition of cognitive dissonance is? Let's see if we're witnessing it right at this moment.
Oh my God.
Ace Ventura.
It's
Back to the
Cognitive
future.
dissonance.
Unconscious incompetence.
you are
Back to the
finding
The
these
future.
mental
individual
discomfort from
definitions.
holding conflicting beliefs,
Who,
values,
Cheatham, and
or
how?
attitudes,
That's the definition.
or when your actions, or perhaps even words and expressions, contradict themselves, creating psychological tension.
It always goes
Ooh.
back to pride and ego.
Is that internalized ambiguity happening there?
I think it's externalized ambiguity. You just
Jesus.
say whatever out your mouth. Because you obviously don't know with whom you all speaking.
In what
You
context
need to
should
take that
these
attorney off
definitions-
that Nick. Nick, not attorney.
Just
No, he's acting and expressing exactly like most attorneys do.
and this
Okay?
is why we send the notices to the attorneys. This is
Exactly.
why we do bar grievances because the candor is so off.
Do y'all see where it is in West Virginia? Because the purpose of this exercise was simply to define the term in the state. I want everybody to comprehend this. This was an exercise in all we were looking for is the definition. We didn't go to the sales tax section and then find in the state. I hope that clarifies everything for you guys. We didn't say what's in the business and occupation codes in Washington. We didn't say what's in the Wyoming code. We didn't do it like that. We looked for the term, the definition of in the state, in this state, and within the state. That's it. That's what we were looking for. And on most states just happen to only and exclusively have that definition in their tax code. We didn't put it in the tax code. They put it in the tax code. We were just looking for the definition of in the state or within the state. And that's what it says here, in this state or within the state. It's under the tax code. How come that's not significant? How come your common sense is not kicking in?
No, we don't ever apply them generally. We're showing people, since we are on the internet, that it is consistent generally wherever you are. However, you can apply it specifically for the jurisdiction where the statutes are being misapplied.
When a judge says in their opinion that the defendant was in the state, it's the judge using those words. I didn't tell the judge to say it. They said it. You were saying in the state. I go looking in any state statute for where the definition of what you just said is, and the only place it's at is under the Department of Revenue. You better should be showing that I was doing some taxable activity if in fact your statement is to be proven accurate. You better be showing, like, yes, you were the hot dog selling stand man or whatever. You were out here offering t-shirts or lemonades or something, some activity that is regulated by the Department of Revenue. That meant they can support the statement that you were in the state.
Yo, this is hilarious. Look what he said. Look what he said.
Acting as if the definition as if a definition in the Commerce Code limits. Okay. Do you know the rules of construction that limit? Are you familiar?
This is like a simple jerk with him.
Yeah.
How are you agreeing and disagreeing at the same time?
Because he really don't know.
Definition have to be taken in context with the legislative intent. The legislative intent and constitutional authority is what limits. So, if states are by legislative intent and constitutional authority only able to regulate this type of taxable activity, that's why they put the definition of within the state under their own freaking tax code. I didn't tell them to put it there. It's probably because that is their limitation based on legislative intent and constitutional authority. They were like, where can we put the definition of when we say in the state, where can we put it? Oh, since we can only regulate certain state privileges, state granted privileges, we should probably put it where the state granted privileges are, right there.
Legislative intent and rules of construction is like kryptonite to attorneys.
Woo-wee. Especially ones that are probably going for prosecutors' titles.
Especially those
read the rules
assholes.
of
I
construction.
mean, attorneys.
Mhm.
The defense ones are okay sometimes. You cannot overly apply rules applicable to the game. You can only consistently apply them or inconsistently apply them. Who agrees?
Agree.
Agree.
The rules of construction are the foundation when comprehending what and how they are to be used in order to make sure that administrative procedures do not overreach into the private lives of private sentient beings. That's
Process.
That
the
someone is
purpose of it.
severely over applying the rules of construction seems to be synonymous with you're overly defining, you're overly enunciating your words.
But why point that out?
They underdefined them to them.
Why argue the over defining
Over
instead of
applying the rules of construction, like how is that
How do
even
you do that?
possible? That's
Yeah, how
like
do you do
overly
that?
applying the rules of
Yeah,
constructing a sentence. Can
that's
you
like overly
can you
applying the rules of constructing anything. You can't overly apply the rules of constructing a house.
if you are playing any game, can you overly apply the rules to the game if it's the rules to the game?
How long does
That's
law school take?
That was an idiotic statement.
Apparently, it doesn't take long enough because some of us get out of here and get out of there and still can't freaking read with comprehension, or we have intellectual honesty challenges.
is over applying the definition of thing, is that like not conducive to your retainer?
That's like when attorneys tell you stuff like you're over applying the Constitution. It's not supposed to apply to everything. It's only supposed to apply to something. You want to hold everybody to the Constitution in regardless of what public role they're playing. Shame on you, overly applying the laws and rules. You are jumping steps to get to rules of construction. The rules of construction is how you interpret the reading of the steps.
That is the
Before you even start
foundation.
reading the steps.
Correct.
This is before you start reading the steps, you have to know how the steps are constructed so that you do not misinterpret them while you are reading them.
That's a distinct study right there that they missing.
So that means that
Even me.
people, they come out of law school, they have their bar degree, they're ready to be retained. So that means that you actually come out of law school.
Look at him
to
agreeing and
practice
disagreeing at the same time. No, it's not.
unauthorized.
They come out only when the statute is ambiguous. Obviously, the statute is ambiguous because we are reading the definition of person, for example, that says legal entities, and you still think it means everybody you lay your eyes on. That is the ambiguity right there.
And that's the reason why we're having
Indoctrination.
the conversation.
That
why
is
we're
the
having a conversation.
ambiguity right there. That is the purpose of the conversation. Or is it that you don't comprehend what the word ambiguity means?
That's what we were all
With your
taught.
cognitive dissonance going on.
But didn't I say earlier, please I'm waiting to have the conversation because I know where the conversation is going to end up and it will satisfy everyone that is in attendance. Did I not say that?
The quality of being open to more than one interpretation. Some of us interpret it as the legislative intent, the rules of construction, and constitutional limitations allow. Some of us interpret it that way. Attorneys, because they wanted to apply it to everybody, interpret it as if it does apply to
Constitutional
everybody,
limitations.
regardless of the constitutional limitations, regardless of the legislative intent. The attorneys expand the interpretation. That itself is proof of more than one.
Yo, would Nick say judicial immunity could be used as an example since he's saying we're not even consulting case law before determining whether it's ambiguous?
You're not even. What do you know? Do you know what? Does anybody here know the levels of law authority? What level is case law on, Nick? When it comes to authorities of law, what level is case law?
I think Nick be trolling.
No, Nick is
No, I think he's honest.
a perfect example
He's
of
thinking
every
supreme law.
attorney I have ever beat. In any case, he's a perfect example of every attorney I already beat.
And I love
He's
his
thinking
honesty.
supreme law.
Let's see. Are you thinking supreme law,
Okay,
Nick?
so here he goes. The order goes Constitution, statutes. There's something else in between case law, Lick. Case law is way down on the fucking list. There's at least one thing in between case law and statutes, Nick. So let's see if you're gonna get it. You are correct though. Constitutions, which is why I started with Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17, which does not support your assertion that mere physical presence is what proves, shows, confirms, certifies jurisdiction. We started with the Constitution, Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17. Clearly contradicts your assertion of mere presence, physical presence. So let's see if Nick will get what goes in between statutes and case law. This is typically for tomorrow.
It's funny too because he says we're not even going to the case law. When I started out, when he first came on, I said that everyone needs to be familiar with their state's official and unofficial court reporters. Did not tell you the conversation was going to come full circle? That's why I like Nick, because he's honest, and his honesty is going to bring him home. I already
What
know
comes
it.
between statutes and case law? It's not my opinion. I could actually just type it in. You could look in any old law book too. They actually have a hierarchy of law in old law books. It does. It starts with before the Constitution. It starts with things like the Magna Charta and the Declaration of Independence, and then the Federalist Papers, and then the Constitution. But I'll take it from you starting with the Constitution. I'm okay with that.
Funny, we're all on the same topic. I want to know, why is our conversation compartmentalized to Nick? Because he's saying, why don't you just focus on staying on topic? And it's
We
like,
are on
wow.
topic. We are on topic. The topic is, as we started from Tuesday, into the intellectual integrity and intellectual honesty, and not the cognitive dissonance that you are expressing. You say constitutions are starting at the top, but yet the Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17 eludes you somehow. So we go to the statutes, 18 U.S. Code 7, because you are the one who made the assertion that physical presence alone in the United States is what gives jurisdiction. And that seems to contradict the Constitution. It also seems to contradict
Statute.
the statutes, codes, rules, regulations, administrative regulations as well, ordinances. It violates everything.
Word.
You right, Alpha and Omega. He doesn't think to know anything about that. He wants to jump all the way to case law, which is way down the list. Even on his own list, it's tertiary. So why not stay with the Constitution?
Again, how many attorneys you
Nick,
know,
here you
Nick?
go. Hey, Nick, when you don't feel very confident about your answers, or you think maybe I'm being a little bit too confident about my answers, you don't get to tell me what I talk about. You don't get to tell me how about I stick on topic. This is not your live. Are you trying to be disrespectful? Door.
I think in between statutes and case law is usually some type of regulations, because even though the regulations have no weight of law in which things can be quote unquote decided, so to speak, however, they are the things which govern the activities of the person statutorily in question.
She said
So
that. She said codes and regulations.
okay, yeah. So just to kind of, I'm just responding to what he's got there in the chat. But yeah, like I said, if we're just being, having intellectual integrity and being intellectually honest, then eventually we're all going to come to the same final space, and that's going to be that most attorneys are guilty of unauthorized practice of law because they have not done the pre-filing investigation necessary, which we're giving Nick a 101 in right now. I yield.
Okay, so let's see where case law is in the hierarchy of law. Hierarchy of law in the United States places the United States Constitution on top. So when somebody makes any statement, if it does not pass the federal constitutional, the United States constitutional snuff test, okay, it is BS. Can somebody show me where in the United States Constitution it confirms Nick's allegation that mere presence alone confirms, confers, certifies, proves, is admissible evidence of jurisdiction?
Not there.
Where that? Where that?
Where is what? What do you call it? A case law in the hierarchy of law. Where's case law in the hierarchy of law?
I think that's the low man on the totem pole, but
You already established that.
Look what it says here. It comes where? So everybody read together. Everybody read it together. Come on, be TikTok lawyers today.
in the hierarchy of law, case law, judicial opinion comes after constitution, statutes, and administrative regulations.
And so did I make that up? Did Malika put this in here? Somebody. Because
No.
Nick, like every attorney, likes to say stupid shit like, what in your opinion? Motherfuckers, why do I need my own opinion? I got y'all's own. It's not Malika's opinions. It's y'all's judicial opinions. I don't need Malika's opinions. I could just point to y'all's own. Your own. Your
They
Nick
say that the
probably.
lower courts
Malika,
must
I
follow.
think
Okay.
procedurally.
But remember, Nick made another statement when I asked him about the hierarchy of law. He skipped way over. He skipped over this.
He probably looked it up and seen it too.
No, he didn't. He opened his mouth and things flung out that were incorrect. He never looked it up because he doesn't think he needs to look anything up. Only Malika thinks she needs to look things up. Only Malika encourages her people to look things up before things fly out of their mouth. Like when you're asked, as an attorney that graduated law school, what is the hierarchy of law? And you skip straight over administrative regulations. You just jump right over. You skip steps.
I
And then
said he
accuse
probably.
Malika.
I said he probably looked it up because
Well, if
he
he's
put the Constitution
if
at
he
the,
looked it up, why didn't he apologize
he put the Constitution
like
at the
a
top. They
man?
normally don't do.
Why
Candor.
didn't you apologize like a man if you looked it up?
Rule 3.3, candor to the tribunal.
It is crucial because courts interpret the higher laws. Don't talk to me about taking the definition of interstate out of context. I didn't put the shit in the Commerce Code. I just went looking for it in every state, and I found they put it in there. So every time a judge says that somebody did something in the state, it's not Malika misinterpreting something. They are using the terms that are defined in the statutes that they're using for their regulation.
Nick must be a state's attorney's ADA or something.
Or maybe he was one of the ones that got into law school based on affirmative action.
I got you.
So they just needed to fulfill a rule or regulation or policy. And so they just like, we just gonna let him in there. You know, we let the other N-words in there. Why not?
But he most likely is just a state lawyer because they're the only ones who say stuff like, "Oh, that's federal law. That's not state law," or "That's the federal."
I want to know where it could be inconsistent, where there can be inconsistencies, and you still able to enforce it.
Well, there isn't. They're not supposed to be, but they say shit like that all the time. I've seen attorneys in court say this shit all the time.
Yeah, he's the same. Like I said, he is the epitome of all of them that we've ever been.
Sanctions. That's all I see right now.
Rule 11 sanctions, because they never investigate into the law and the facts. They just assume, and then the people that become their victims assume as well. And then everybody's assuming, and then they call it, it's not assume, it's presume, because look, both of us assumed it. So now it graduates from an assumption to a presumption.
Yeah,
He
it's
can't
gonna
show
come with
anything in writing that shows that presence alone. He's still not apologized. He's still not apologized for being incorrect, for inserting case law above administrative regulations in the hierarchy of law.
Should invite him up. Stop. Hit the request button, Nick. Let me stop.
Anyway, that's enough for today. I hope you guys enjoyed our time together. I just wanted to remind everybody, since we haven't intermittently, since we're circling back to the main point, which is we have a $50 off coupon for all of our workshops, including our workshop that is called Beat the Bar 2.0. So you guys can see how we put all of their own shit together. So we don't have to come up with our own opinion. We can just use the ones they've already given against them, Aikido style. That's one among many. So if any of my affiliates are here in the chat with us, go ahead and link with your affiliate link, if you will, to our classes where we are offering coaching on how to beat the pants off of people that just open their mouth and just blurt things out by not being one of them.
Right.
So if you enjoyed this Thursday class, in order to earn your way into the Zoom side so that you can read your documents and get coaching from the entire team, go ahead and watch our free, absolutely free, As Above, So Below series with your favorite attorney or not, so they too can learn about the hierarchy of law.
I'm tempted to send Nick my Zoom link.
By reading things with comprehension like the United States Constitution and reading things with comprehension like the federal statutes and acts of Congress as they might be applicable to your situation, in reading things like the federal regulations or the CFR and the state constitutions and the statutes and all that fun stuff that we absolutely love and respect and honor, because again, it allows us to say, doesn't it say in your own laws? So we are not accused of making up our own opinion.
Yeah,
Glad
Nick.
shout out
That
to
was
you for
wonderful.
sharing the link.
Yeah, procedure is that Trojan horse, Nick, that we're going to couch the substantive jurisprudence in. So
Bro,
you and your buddies can enjoy that gift.
stop
Enjoy
using
that
that.
Trojan
Stop
horse.
using those words that I gotta go look up.
Just saying.
In the dictionary, okay?
I'm just saying.
Okay. Nick is nothing. He's nothing. The main reason that we're here is for all of the potential victims of people like Nick. We are here for
Word.
to help the potential victims of people like Nick and the potential victims of people like the other so-called internet gurus out there that are telling people not to read the constitutions, not to read the statutes, not to read the state constitutions, not to read the regulations, not to read the ordinances, not to read the rules of construction, not to read the sheriff handbook. They're telling you not to read the rules. And I'm here to suggest to you that reading and comprehension of the rules is how you can beat them every
Word.
single time. And that's why you have people that are here in our community with 100% wins, whether it's their case or someone else that they're assisting. Yeehaw! So gratitude for your time, your talent, your attention, your tapping out the live, sharing out the live, being here, including Nick, because without people able to voice their opinions, I guess, their cognitive dissonance, their presumptions, their unfounded assumptions in a respectful forum, how might we be able to better tailor our communication to people in that industry? To people that
Word.
might be of the similar mindset, even if they're not in that industry. So these types of conversations, in my opinion, are valuable. And I hope you guys found value in it as well. And that you will earn your way into our Zoom side. And we will have some questions. So for those who are a part of our community, we will be back together, God willing, tomorrow, where we go over court strategy session.
Yay! Woo woo!
It wasn't even today.
Yay! Yeah, this was just action planning.
This is action planning, but action planning is where we go over the definitions. So when we start to do court strategy, that blah 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 that falls out of the mouth of the attorneys, they don't scare us. They don't make us bite our nails. They don't make us wonder what we're gonna do. They don't make us complain that they're not respecting our authenticated birth certificate and the recognition of our declaration of trust. Okay.
Word.
And UCC won.
Yes, next episode of Dragon Ball Z.
Yo, y'all hilarious.
Love you guys.
Pieces. You're having too much fun. Too much fun.
Come on, yo.
Y'all are
What
the
about the
best.
attorney? This one dead.